Well, George, millions of people that are dead are receiving payments, according to this audit. How did this happen? How did we let it get this bad off?
Well, look at just in a couple of weeks what DOGE has actually found. USAID, let's start with USAID for a second. They're less than 1% of the federal budget, and DOGE and the Trump administration found out that billions of dollars in taxpayer dollars were being sent abroad for regime change and domestically to finance and fund leftist ideology, to undermine conservative values, traditions, and to try to spread propaganda, disinformation, and misinformation against candidate Trump, MAGA, and the President of the United States of America. That's exactly what the whole Politico scandal was all about, where our tax dollars are actually financing their own subscriptions. Moving forward to this is just another example of entitlement spending gone awry, wasted, and spent in an unwise manner that has contributed to not only our evolving and massive global public debt, but also is going to contribute to our growing deficit that we're also going to have with various other countries, because it's affecting the domestic economy. People who have been dead for decades, years, are still receiving Social Security checks. This has to stop. And if it wasn't for DOGE and President Trump, this type of waste, corruption, and government spending would have continued unabated. The elites would have been, their pockets would have been lined up, and the working man and woman in this country would have continued to suffer.
Absolutely. I mean, it is really impressive to see how much DOGE has been able to accomplish just in a few weeks here. It's almost mind-boggling that we're so overdue for these types of audits. I do want to go back to Social Security for a moment. We're seeing reports that this morning, the Social Security Commissioner has stepped down from her role for refusing to give up sensitive information to DOGE staffers. Do you expect that we're going to see more high-profile resignations soon as DOGE continues their audits of federal agencies?
I think it's in the it's in America's interest to have government transparency and accountability. When you have high-profile directors or executives or political figures who are fighting back against audits, against transparency, and against showcasing to the American public where their taxpayers' dollars are going, I think that's a problem. I think that's an insidious problem. I think it's pernicious. And I think individuals like this person who are fighting against the audit and more transparency likely have something to hide. This is why DOGE is important. This is exactly why Donald Trump is keen on appointing patriotic Americans, people who are there to serve the American people and abide by the Constitution in critical roles, including things like this, because when people were out there for their own pocketbooks and not putting the American people first, this is exactly what got us into the type of economic crisis we're